We don't carry junk parts, Grandpa. Try a museum. The words stung harder than the cold steel of the counter. The old man blinked, stunned. His hand still rested on the worn, faded rifle. An M14 he carried through fire and chaos in the jungles of Vietnam. All he wanted was a replacement trigger assembly. A simple fix, something to keep what little he had in working order. But the young clerk behind the counter sneered like it was a joke. I said we don't deal in antiques. What's next? You want musket balls too? Laughter broke out behind him. One customer even took out his phone, filming. The vet, Sergeant Bill Rourke, 78 years old, straightened his back, even as his knees protested. His voice was low. That antique saved lives, including mine. But the clerk waved him off. You're holding up the line. Go tell war stories somewhere else. Without another word, Bill picked up the rifle, placed it carefully back in its case, and turned for the door. His hand trembled, but not from fear, from fury, the same hand that once held the lives of his unit. Now, couldn't even hold the respect of a teenager behind a register. He didn't tell anyone, not his daughter, not the VFW guys, not even the VA nurse who checked on him every week. But one person did hear about it. A young recruit had been standing in the corner of the shop, quiet, unnoticed. His name was Private Leo Santoro, just out of boot camp, on leave, and still figuring out what kind of Marine he wanted to be. He recognized Sergeant Rourke the moment he walked in. Rourke's photo hung in the mess hall back at Pendleton. A legend. A man who once led a lost platoon to safety under enemy fire, with a shattered leg. Santoro didn't speak up then, but he made a call. 3 days later, the gun shop opened as usual. By noon, business was steady. The same clerk joked about old-timers with World War II gear, laughing with customers. Then, the bell above the door rang, and it didn't stop. One by one, they entered. Full-dress blues, camouflage utilities, active, retired, reserve, dozens Marines. Every single one of them walked in, silent, eyes forward. And they didn't browse. They stood in formation, filling the shop wall to wall. Uniforms crisp, eyes locked on the stunned employees. At the front, a tall, chiseled man in a decorated officer's jacket. Colonel Rice. A living legend in his own right. He stepped to the counter. "Are you the one who insulted Sergeant Rourke?" he asked. The clerk stuttered. I didn't mean he was being difficult. I thought he was just what?" the colonel snapped. "A burden? An inconvenience? A veteran who fought so you could stand here and sell rifles in peace?" The room was still. Rice leaned in. "Let me be very clear. You may sell guns, but men like him earned the right to carry them." One Marine stepped forward and placed something on the counter. A folded American flag. "This is what he fought for," the Marine said. "Not your commission. Not your jokes." Customers tried to enter, but the Marines blocked the door. The crowd outside grew. A local news van pulled up. Word spread fast. Then, the door opened again, and in walked Sergeant Bill Rourke, alone, head high, wearing his old leather jacket, boots polished, the Vietnam cap perched proudly on his silver hair. The room parted. Colonel Rice turned, saluted. "Permission to speak freely, Sergeant?" Bill nodded, his voice calm. "Go ahead, Colonel." Rice turned to the clerk. "You embarrassed a Marine in front of civilians. Now, you'll apologize in front of Marines." The young man, red-faced, sweating, stepped around the counter. His voice cracked. "I'm sorry, sir. I was wrong. I didn't know who you were." Bill looked him in the eye. "You don't need to know who someone is to treat them with respect." And just like that, the old man turned and walked out. The aftermath, the video of the incident, filmed by Private Santoro, went viral overnight. 10 million views in 3 days. The gun shop issued a full apology, but the damage was done. Sponsors pulled funding. The chain dropped them. The store shut down 2 weeks later. But something greater happened too. Veterans across the country shared their stories of being dismissed, overlooked, ignored. And for once, the world listened. Rourke didn't ask for fame. He didn't want a medal. But what he got was respect restored. Backstory emerged later. Rourke's unit had once been ambushed deep in enemy territory. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and he carried 3 wounded men on his back across a rice paddy under fire, took a bullet to the leg, and never stopped moving. He never bragged, never talked about it. Because real heroes don't need to shout. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a karma in the comments below.